Hello, I am Bridget Rowe. I am energy, I am powerful, and I am who I say I am. The purpose of this video is to talk to you for a moment about the Nipsey Hussle death or funeral or life or whatever you want to call it. First of all, I want to say excuse the weather. We have lightning and thundering. That's if you could hear it in the background. It's a beautiful thing though. We have that plasma energy going. I look at that as if it's the ancestors just zapping us, giving us the energy that we need to sustain this physical reality. So nonetheless, I wanted to take a moment to share some things that I immediately noticed and heard about the death of Nipsey Hussle. And I'm not going to draw out this video. It's really going to be short and sweet, to the point. I know that this might be a touchy subject for some, but I intentionally waited, to post this video because of that. And I also waited because I wanted the wave of people that was researching Nipsey Hussle to kind of like dwindle down, because I'm really posting this for my group, the group that I manage on Facebook, Act Like a Human But Think Like a God. With that being said, I want to say hello to Emmanuel. I want to say hello to Rhonda from Africa, Carmika, Jessica, and Emmanuel. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here and supporting this group. So let's begin. First of all, I did not know of Nipsey Hussle at all before his death. I've heard the music. I just never saw him, never tried to Google him to see what he looked like or whatever. But I knew of him being a rapper. That's it. Still don't know him actually, but I'm just saying. Anyway, I don't normally watch television because I know that television is used for programming, and I like to set my own programming. But I was sent a link and I was asked my thoughts about Nipsey Hussle, his life, his funeral, and if there were any messages for me to check it out. And so this is what I've concluded. So when I say that this is what I concluded, I'm letting you know this is my opinion, my thoughts. I'm not saying for you to make my thoughts your thoughts. All I am saying is this is what I took from the funeral and the codes, the visuals, the message that I received, and maybe you can pick up something from it. If not, oh well. Okay, so the story itself had a lot of inconsistencies. I don't really want to talk about the story itself. Everybody in the world know that they had a lot of inconsistencies in the story of the so-called death. But what I want to point out is the fact that the death was foreseen basically because of the lyrics inside of his rap music talks about it. Even his mother, she mentioned at the funeral that, that she had found peace with it. She knew death was coming, her and her mother, she was saying. And so there's a lyric that said, his lyrics would be scripture, in his music. So nonetheless, it was foreseen. And because it was foreseen, seemed to me as if it was perfectly orchestrated or planned. Now, keep in mind, I'm calling him Nipsey Hussle, and I'm saying Nipsey Hussle's death because I believe that the entertainer did die. And so we have to realize that when we're dealing with entertainers, we are the audience, so we are being entertained. And that's how I look at famous people, as if they're always entertaining us. And so when I was watching the funeral, some things stood out to me more than others. And the thing that really was a red flag or like a bell sounding off was that they were referring to Nipsey Hussle as being like the Christ, and then when his sister, I believe she was a dark-skinned lady that wore glasses, she said that he was 33 years old. I was like, I just laughed. I really laughed out loud. And so because that number 33 has so much code and significance to it in the biblical text. My last video that I actually did about the Christos fluid, I talked about the number 33, about when Jesus died at the age of 33, even in Freemasonry, how they talk about the number 33 3, being awakened, being enlightened, 33 degrees in Freemasonry. So anyway, that kind of like was a red flag for me. So as I skimmed through the video and then I saw Farrakhan there, I laughed. That was rather interesting to me, just because of my own personal opinions. So I began to just kind of like study. You know how I always tell you all in the group, you study to show yourself approved. You rightly divide the word of truth. Even if you don't have the discernment or the level of just knowing off the back by looking at energy, you can always do research, And so for me, the energy was off with a lot of the people that were speaking there. So too. So that's what prompted me to even do my own research outside of me feeling the energy that some people were just acting. So anyway, I began to do my research, and the first step for me was to find out what his real name meant, because they said that his real name was Ermias Ashkadam. So I began to do research on the first name, and I realized that the first name meant sent by God. I began to do research and find out that the son's name was Cross, spelled with a K, Kross. Okay, so I'm like, okay, so I want to see if this Ermias person is anywhere in the United States obituary. It's been time that has passed now, so his obituary should be posted. And as I put his name in the obituary search, nothing came up. But when I put in Nipsey Hussle's name, it did. And I smiled because, okay, the entertainer name was listed, but not the person. And so that was already what I had believed in my spirit, that the entertainer did die, but the person lived on. Then to find out that this all happened in Los Angeles, a place where fake deaths happen all the time by celebrities, it was really just a no-brainer for me. And so there were so many hidden messages, though. And to me, I'm saying these things just so that you'll know, like, next time when you're dealing with a famous person in a death, that you can go to these places and find out information, that you'll begin to research their name and their purpose. And, if you want to find out what's really going on, because the TV don't really ever tell us the truth, right? That's why I don't really watch it. It always kind of like pushes the masses here and there, but this is a beautiful thing. Some people look at this as it could be negative, but this is a beautiful thing that they push the masses into this area, because it's going to cause the masses to awaken because of this. And so I look at it as all beauty. So it really doesn't matter if this Nipsey Hussle person is alive or dead, because this person doesn't live in your home. This person isn't tied to you in the physical plane, living in your home. What really matters is if you got the message. If you are somebody outside that, that isn't related to this person, what matters is that you got the message. And there were many messages. The picture of Laura London and him by the white horse, it reminded me of the biblical text in the book of Revelations, the white horse that comes, the tattoo on his face saying God will rise, even from the biblical text, how Jesus was betrayed. Well, Nipsey Hussle was betrayed by the Eric Holder person. And supposedly he's supposed to be getting paid, and he's supposed to be getting paid for betraying Nipsey. He was the snitch, so to speak, right? But Jesus had a snitch. Jesus' snitch was Judas, the one that betrayed him in the biblical text for money. So it just really became an interesting story to me more than anything. And to me, it was entertainment. And I hear in the comments a lot of people saying, people getting played and this and that and third, but I don't think it's for people to get played per se. I think it is for the masses to wake up. I think it was a beautiful message, because even if you pay attention to the biblical text with the story of Jesus the Christ that they kept comparing this Nipsey Hussle person to, they say in the biblical text, what greater love hath a man than to lay down his life for a friend? And that's pretty much the gist of what happened here. This person, the entertainer, Nipsey Hussle, had a passion for, this journey of awakening, of consciousness, and laying down his life would prompt his friends or his so-called supporters to do some research, to get in their feelings, to pay attention to how he led his life, and maybe decide to do something about theirs. And so that's what I believe that happened here in this particular story. I believe it was a win-win for both people, for Nipsey Hussle as the entertainer, laying down that entertainer's name or life, bought him money, bought him financial gain. Because you know how like these celebrities, when they die, their money begins to be long money. Most of them are worth more in their death stage than than being alive. And so that's why they'll pull a stunt such as this one. And so for the supporters, if you look at the bigger scheme of things, the supporters got a glimpse of knowing that this man had a clothing line. This man had music. So he know that his supporters are going to go buy that and increase revenue for him, increase wealth for him. But at the same time, he know also that his supporters are going to look into that documentary that he was working on with Dr. Sebi. He know that his supporters, we already had a wave with Dr. Sebi, being the holistic doctor and healer that he was, but the wave dwindled down. Being that Nipsey Hussle died, then that wave is going to go back at a peak and people are going to tap into that. The mother left many messages, even at the funeral, to encourage people to go vegan. This is what he left behind for the people that was his supporters, to tap into the ancestral plane. The mother was saying, even at the funeral, she was saying, "Ashe to the ancestors." We call on the ancestors. Now we already have a wave. We had a wave like that too, back when Black Panther was popular at the movies. They talked about calling on the ancestors in the movie Black Panther, but everybody then took their dashikis off. Black Panther not playing no more at the movie, so some of us just go back to sleep when things like that happen. But this particular thing that happened with Nipsey Hussle is going to bring that peak back up for people to want to call upon the ancestors, or at least inquire about what the mother was talking about if they're still deeply rooted in religion. You see? So I believe that it was a win-win. I believe that it's a positive thing. I believe that because it was so great, it affected so many people, the masses, that even if they do nothing, it is downloaded in their subconscious mind for when it is time for them to awake. They'll have the information available to them already. They'll already want to inquire about going vegan or the ancestors or the divine within and the things that the mother was speaking of. Because we fall deep into our sleep state. And I feel like it is all purposely orchestrated by source energy that we get these types of messages to remind us of who we are and the energy that lives inside of us. So what I'm saying here is it really doesn't matter if you believe that Nipsey Hussle is dead or alive. What really matters is that you got the message. And it is even better if you don't believe that he is alive, because that is going to prompt you to do something. That is going to prompt you to study about him, to find out about the ancestors, to grieve. Go ahead and get pissed off. Get so pissed off that you tap into your own power, that you seek knowledge and truth for yourself. Or better yet, stop killing one another, because when you kill somebody else, you're really just killing your own self. Maybe we can get that pissed off. Whatever it takes to increase your frequency, because that's the universe telling you again, you got to increase your frequency. You got to tap into the divine. You got to become vegan. You're getting message after message after message of the same thing to wake you up, to quicken you to do something with your own energy. But you waste your energy when you sit there and dwell on the situation and don't take the message and grow from it. Because see, in this particular journey in life, you win. No matter what, you win, because you created this thing. You created this thing for you to win and not fail. You knew that you would come into the physical reality and get into a deep sleep. So you left yourself countless messages to return to your God state of being. You even delegated your reflections like a Nipsey Hussle, like his mother. like a Black Panther, like anything that is outside of you, like a Dr. Sabi, like a me, anything that has helped you along your spiritual journey, you created us to remind you to wake yourself up. Because you are the God here. So it is okay that you turn yourself into the Doubting Thomas. That's a beautiful thing. Because that's when all of the fun begins. And from there, the marathon continues. Because we live in a boundless universe where gods do not die. We are eternal. Okay? Be blessed.